again. We know this is what we're meant to do. So we wake up, put our feet on the floor, go and conquer the day like a warrior, like warriors. Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life. That's right, that's right. No need to panic anymore. We got lots of support and an army of warriors by our side. We fight the good fight when we unite. We fight the good fight when we unite. Cause that's what a tribe does. We got your back so you can relax and focus on all the important stuff, like getting your business done. This is our tribe. We look out for each other. That's right, that's right. This is our tribe. We help each other grow in business and life.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in this amazing world. My name is Sondra Ray, and I am the host of the Coffee Chat Show, sponsored by Explore ProTech. How are you today, Peter?
Absolutely brilliant. I think today's show is going to be quite strange because normally the host would be asking the questions and guiding the show, which is still going to be the case. However, today the host is the expert on the topic. So, I mean, Sondra, you can feel free to ask yourself all the questions you'd like. That would be great. But I think today's going to be quite interesting, and especially to the students in the background. I know you guys are watching on YouTube. Well, I think you're watching on YouTube. Yes, they're watching on YouTube. Have fun, enjoy the show, sit back, learn something. We learn something new every day, so this is going to be no different.
Well, that was an intro. You could at least said something about me.
Well, I mean,
I'm teasing.
Sondra, of all the things that I could say about you, instead of to you, because this is an opportunity I don't often get, because normally it's the other way around. Normally it's Sondra saying, did you get this done? Did you do this in order to get that done? Have you done this yet? What is your next step? How are you going to make sure you get there? And 9 times out of 10, and sometimes I'm like, oh, goodness me. But then I realize I'm actually getting things done. So if there's anybody that you want by your side when you're stepping into a space of achieving things and actually getting things done, Sondra would be that person. That's why it says Sondra Ray, get it done coaching. It's quite self-explanatory and it works. So it's my pleasure to introduce Miss Sondra Ray.
Thank you. Of course, I'm turning like 5 shades of red now. Yes, we are live. One of the things I love about the show is we are live. I do interact in the comments, so this will be very interesting as I juggle multiple things, but we will get it done, literally. So today's topic is operation management and process optimization. Those are some big words. I was telling Peter before the show, I was like, wait, I had to like think about the words that were being used in a description, who the amazing Susan writes. So grateful for her to do that. So operation management and process optimization. Those are like big words that can go over your head real quick. So let me make it simpler. Processes. How do you get things done? Those are standard operating procedures. Everybody gets things done. Might not be pretty, might not be the time frame, might not flow the way you want to, but you get things done. Whether it's getting your kids out the door, whether it's starting a business, whether it's going to school, managing your staff, and everything in between. So definitely everybody has a process. Everybody's like, I don't have processes, I don't have standard operating procedures. I'm like, yeah, you do. Do you get things done? Obviously, you have processes. So that's a simplified definition of that. So one thing I do tell people to do is if you're struggling with what are your processes, sit down, or no, make it a goal for 3, hopefully 5 days would be optimal, but at least 3 days, and write everything you do from the start of the day to the beginning of the day. This sounds tedious, but there's a reason for it. This shows you what are you getting done, what are you not getting done, and what do you need help with. Plus, it helps you write your processes because then you can go, oh, okay, I did this to publish my blog. I did this to interact on social media. I did this to check on a job site, check on a radio sponsor, like thinking of the people in the room, and things like that. So you obviously do things. So then put it in writing. And it doesn't have to be pretty. You can use ChatGPT, you can use templates. There's a different thing for, or a different way to do processes that works for you. You can draw the mind map for all. You can definitely go on a different journey for that, whatever that looks like for you. And your learning style. I think that's really important to think about too. So once you have it written down, then see if it flows right, like practice it. Okay, I did A, B, and C. Is this the way I do A, B, and C for a week? Or is this randomness that I do C, G, F, E? Like, do I do it in this order? Is this the best way for me? Is this the best way for my systems? So that would be the other thing, bringing your systems into your processes and making sure that that connects correctly is a very important step, because you might have all these systems all over the place and you're not using them, you're paying for them, or maybe you did a free trial and forgot and you're paying for them. Maybe they've upgraded the system and it can do more of your processes. So look at what your systems are compared to what your processes are and put them together like a puzzle. It's a puzzle. So putting those puzzles together. So those are kind of the first steps when I talk about starting to figure out your SOPs and your processes. And then, of course, the other step to that is review. If you know me, I'm going to tell you to review it quarterly. In my quarterly review workshop and in my workbooks, every single life goal, business, because I work with multiple business owners, all of them have review your processes, review your systems, so you can see where things are. Prices have been raised. I know a lot of systems that have raised their prices. In the economy we're in, it's part of doing business, but to make sure, are you getting your best, are you getting the best out of the system and getting the money that is it still worth it? You know, maybe it was worth it 6 months ago, but it's not worth it today to have that system and pay for that. Or maybe it doesn't do all the things because you've grown. You know, hopefully you're growing and hopefully you will need to upgrade your systems. So that's extremely important too. So the other important thing about the other reason to have processes is when you bring on a team, hopefully you're going to grow a team. Hopefully your team is not you and just you. I'm going to tell you, if it is, it's a very lonely place. You really don't want to be there for very long. So if you have processes, it's so much easier to bring somebody on and say, okay, this is my process. Is somebody going to do it exactly to the letter of how you do it? No, but they'll come really close if you have a really detailed process. So, and then it's duplicated. So you can train team A, team B, team C, and all those things. So as you grow and as you expand and as you level up your business and your life, I mean, if you get married, have kids, that's growing your family. Systems and processes are important on that side too. When I got my second marriage, we went from each having 2 kids to having 4, with a 5th one on the way. So his systems and my systems, they did not match. They were night and day from each other. So there was a lot of meeting in the middle and figuring that out with teenagers and hybrid and different schedules and things like that. So this can apply to your life too, is what I'm saying. And then, kids going to school and things like that, system and processes are important for them to learn too, because as they go from, lower grades to higher grades to college, they need some kind of a system. And most of the time, the teachers and professors are going to provide that for them in the K through 12, but maybe not college. I know a lot of professors that hand them a syllabus and be like, hey, okay, you have 3 projects to do this month. Figure it out. And there's a lot of college students that don't know how to figure that out. So it's important to even teach your children systems and processes so that when they are outside of your house or beginning to do even careers, I mean, who's had a boss that gave them a project and was like, do it. Didn't tell them how. Here's your deadline, just do it. So they might have a system and process, and they might be like, you have to figure it out because we've never done it before. So another good reason to figure out systems and processes on that part too. So as far as optimizing them, that's basically reviewing them and making sure they're working and keeping ahead of it and not doing the same thing over and over and getting bad results. Thinking, okay, this isn't working. What do I need to improve it? What is it? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So you can't be doing the same thing over and over and expect something to change unless you change something. So you are the change, especially as a business owner, as a parent, as a teacher, as a professional. I should go on and on and on. So, but yeah, those are the basics. Having somebody help you do that is also a possibility. I do that. I have a system and process audit call that people can schedule. So that is something I help with. And there are definitely a lot of business coaches and leadership that can help you do those too. Of course, the Ignite program have amazing people like Mr. Levy and Megan and people that do teach on those things. So yeah, you definitely use your resources. Okay, I'll take a live. I'm going to take one from the live and then I'll go to you, Peter. Okay, students, I do not try to pronounce your names because I do not want to say them wrong. That's a very known fact. As an entrepreneur, how often should you relook at your processes? At least quarterly. If you can do it monthly, great. I know a lot of people that are working in and on their business. That's just a little. It's not as realistic. Once a month would be great. Every 3 months would be I would say the golden standard. Anything past that, then you're either wasting time or you're going to waste money. If you wait 6 months to a year, you're gonna lose money somewhere, whether it's on paying too much for a system or a process that was broken. Think about it like links. Like if you have links on your website and stuff, if those things are broken, you're not going to get clients. If your processes aren't working, you're not going to get clients or keep clients. Those are two other valid points. So thank you for the question. Peter, come on in.
Oh, okay. So if you're out there and you are a solo entrepreneur, then this would apply to you. Because it applied to me. I was that happy-go-lucky, fly by the seat of my pants, make split-second decisions. Something sounds really good, gung-ho, jump off a cliff, get it done, and not easy to replicate. Not easy to replicate at all because it's all over the place. And if you ask me, what are you currently doing? Oh, a million things. A million things. Which one of those things are the things that you're supposed to be doing? Oh, goodness me, I do not know. What are you supposed to be doing right now that makes the biggest difference or the biggest impact? Oh, good question. I'm uncertain. And I would be all over the place. So I was one of those people where somebody said, well, what systems do you have? And I'm like, systems? What's the systems? I don't know what you mean. So I definitely was one of those people that needed to be taken through the process of, okay, right, so what do you do in a day? How many times do you do that? What does it lead to? What is the point of doing that? Is that necessary? What do you do next? And kind of build out that space, because that's the only way that creates the opportunity for, I can now see of all those tasks, what actually requires my personal attention, and what can I actually just reach out to Somerville and go, hey, Somerville, I need this done. Or hey, Somerville, I need this done every month by this particular date, because I know which date it needs to be done by, because I have been able to create the processes. And I think Sondra's 100% right. If you want to just try and remain the lucky entrepreneur, you just happen to land in a really good situation and you're just really lucky and everything works out, which hardly ever happens, then best of luck to you and power to you. Be strong. But that's not how it works, especially when your space is starting to grow. And I think the whole point of entrepreneurship is that we build spaces with the intention of those spaces growing. So if the intention is to build something that grows, it can only grow when you start adding other people. And when you get to that point and you add other people and they go, what am I supposed to do? And you go, well, goodness me, just copy me. That generally doesn't work. That doesn't work at all. So creating spaces where, you can even separate your space into multiple spaces and have multiple processes. And you know that if you're bringing somebody in from the sales side, that when you were doing it, your process was this, and you figured out that within your space, this is what worked. And that becomes their process. So it's all about taking your expertise, because the only person that knows your business is you. That's it. And nobody from the outside can come in and go, I'm a professional on their business. The only person that knows your business well enough to know what works and what doesn't is you. Can you get advice from the outside? Yes. But don't take chances when it comes to building your space. You want to create the foundation of your space. If you're a solo entrepreneur right now, and you're looking to dream big, then this would be the beginning of that dream, where you can actually start to build it out, where you can actually go, okay, right, these are my processes. This is how it works. This is what I do. This is what needs to be achieved, but doesn't need my attention. This is where I can build that. Now you have the ability to strategically build the right relationships, because you know who you need to build relationships with, because you know what needs to be done. What people you can bring on board and what their job description looks like and what it is they're supposed to do, because you've done it before and you created the process. These are all things that put you in a position of, I know what I need to get done, how it needs to get done, when it needs to get done by, and it gives you the ability to step back and go, I'm actually in charge of my space. I really know what's going on. And if something goes wrong, you can trickle it back down through a process and you can find out exactly where it went wrong, how it went wrong, how to fix it. I think those things, it may sound like such a basic thing. Processes. It will save your, screw it. It'll save your ass. It will save your ass. So pay attention. Over and out.
I love that. I love it, Peter. A couple of things you said. Nobody can read your mind, so nobody's going to know your business. Even in my household, they've been like, hello, we can't read your mind. We don't know what you want us to do this weekend. I'm like, we do the same things every weekend. Well, I finally wrote it down. There's a permanent list of things we do on the weekend. Or when we're planning parties or something, the soon-to-be 17-year-old, like, Mom, can you take your own advice and quit being your worst client and write it freaking down, because I can't help you if you don't write it down. Nobody's a mind reader. Your spouse isn't a mind reader. Your virtual assistant isn't a mind reader. Your, tech people are not your mind readers, so they will not read your mind. So for sure. And then you said job description. So yeah, if you have a process, you can be like, I need somebody that does this way. So you can hire way quicker if you have a process, because you can be like, hey, what do you think about this process during the interview? And they'll be like, heck no, I don't want to do that. And you'll be like, okay, next. Like, next. I'm not going to hire you if you're not going to come in and do my process. Be open to feedback from people for sure. I mean, your team has valid feedback, so don't be so stringent that you're like, okay, it's my process and nobody can change it. If you're growing, aka if you're growing, then yes, things are going to grow, things are going to change. I'm going to let Mr. L go, and then I'll answer a couple questions from the live. Go ahead.
Hi, Sondra. Hi, everyone, even the ones that are on YouTube. Yes, another interesting topic for, for this Monday evening. And I just want to take it a bit broader, Sondra, and just ask, where in life do we not have procedures? Because I've tried to think about this, and I'm like, even restaurants have got a procedure. They will tell the waitress or whoever it is, or when a person gets into the door, you greet them, you show them to a table, and that procedure of this is how we do things in this restaurant. Whether it's a big restaurant or a small one. I've listened to telemarketers calling. All of them will call you and they will say the same things. It's a procedure that they have. It's a script they have. This is how you do things. In sales, there are procedures. You don't just go give a person an invoice before you sell to them. And you don't sell to them before, as we do it, before you connect them. So everywhere in life, there is a procedure, even at home. Sondra, you mentioned the domestic setups. Your children will know this is how we do things. When we finish eating, we put the dishes in the skillet or in the sink. They'll get washed. They'll be dried. They'll be put away, packed away, not just put away, but packed away. So all those things are procedures that we need to follow at home, at work, in life, everywhere. When you drive, there are procedures of how to drive on the road. You have to follow those procedures. Otherwise, we will have chaos on the roads. Now, if you are running a business and you don't have procedures, how do you expect to be successful without procedures? I don't see any success. You'll not be successful because you don't know what you're doing. And Peter, you bent your, I'm not going to do ping, but you bent yourself a lot of times by doing things without procedures. And you realized without a procedure, without a way of doing things, without me following a certain route or route, as Sondra would pronounce it, I'm failing. I'm not winning. And I think even in Explore ProTech, although, and I'm going to call it a silent SOP, where you don't sell at first when you meet a person. Have coffee, get to know the person. For me, that's a procedure, although it's standard. It's silent. So for me, it's a silent SOP. There are cultural SOPs. We do things differently in different cultures. I think just everywhere there are procedures, and they are standard for everyone to know. So in your business, how will you not have a procedure? If you want to win, have one. We know Sondra is going to host coffee shop show every Monday. She knows exactly what to do every Monday, and we know what to expect as well. So my little advice, it doesn't have to be rocket science for you to have standard operating procedures. And if you cannot get to them, we've got Sondra that can help you to get it done. Thank you. This is Lesetja Mokou from Litmok, your business development specialist.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, from roads to government to doctors' offices to restaurants to schools, all of them process and procedures. And as somebody that deals with somebody with medical complexities, you got to jump through all those processes and procedures because trust me, you will get nowhere. And it's on them to know it, but it's on you to work it. Basically, you have to work the process and procedure. Because if you stop working it, a lot of times people will be like, okay, well, you stopped in the middle of this. This isn't our fault. Depending on the business. Hopefully not. Hopefully they'll be like, wait, come back. I want your business. Can you finish the process and procedure, whether it's onboarding or paying or scheduling appointments? You know, how many times do we open a calendar and not schedule it, or we schedule it halfway and then we're like, why didn't that go on my calendar? Well, we didn't finish the process. That's why I didn't go on your calendar. So, or your inbox, you know, your inbox gets overwhelmed and you start a new process and maybe the filter wasn't set up right. Definitely for sure. I'm going to answer a couple questions and then Hendrick, you're not getting off the hook that easy. You know better. From the live show. So what is a good time to change the processes? At the quarterly review, if you do a monthly review, if it is truly like a dumpster fire and it's just killing your business, then yeah, abandon it, change it. Hopefully not in the middle of a project. I mean, that would not be ideal, but if something is just truly not working, for sure. And as a new startup, you know, I would give it a good 2 to 3 months to see if it's working for you. If you're brand new, because that was another question, before changing them up too much. But again, if you see that it's just truly not working in any way, shape, or form, or not doable. How many times do we take on too much? Peter was saying, you know, I was doing all the things, trying to do all the things. So if your process is having you do all the things, it's not working, don't run yourself into ground. That's called burnout. We don't want you to burn out before you successfully launch. So don't do that. Find the resources. That is something I work with my clients is finding resources. You know, Ignite students have all the resources, you know, all the amazing coaches that are teaching them, which is amazing. Explore ProTech, we use our resources all the time. Hopefully we tag into the community. Community is a great way to find resources. Hendrick, oh no, Hendrick had to step away. Okay, that's fine. Okay, Christopher, what is the best methodology and technique to use as a startup entrepreneur? Christopher, it's still the same. Write down what you're doing because you're obviously doing something as you start up. Whether that's you're still creating a business plan, you're still working on funding. Those are processes. You can start there before you jump into sales processes or marketing processes or social media management processes. Start with the basics. So figure out how you're doing things, where you're doing things. As you walk through class, those are processes that your coach set up, whether it's Megan, whether it's Mr. Levy, Marlon, I can't think of the rest of them, but all of those guys have processes and ask them. Ask people what their processes are. And hopefully a good entrepreneur will tell you, or at least give you some feedback so that you can use that too. There's nothing wrong with that. My process isn't my secret. Like, why? Why would I do that? I want people to grow and I want people to learn. So I don't hold my SOPs like in a vault locked away. To me, that doesn't make sense. Some will, some industries, you do have to keep them a little more protected. I do work in the financial industry with somebody and like those processes, no, I can't share those outside of the industry. So it does make sense sometimes that you can't share them outside the industry. So of course, don't violate NDAs or anything crazy. Mr. Hendrick, come on in. You can't raise your hand and put it back down. You know better. My process is to get Hendrick to speak up on every show, and he usually volunteers himself until I volunteered him.
Okay. Evening, everyone. So the reason I lowered my hand was because most of the things I wanted to say were addressed by both Peter and Mr. Lesetja. So I think because many people actually asking about this on the YouTube show, I think it's also important, Sondra, that before people change their processes, they try to improve on them. Try to see what can be done to maximize the processes that you already have, because it doesn't assist coming up with new processes every 3 months, coming up with new procedures, and then you chop and change every 3 months. At the end of the day, your company does not have a base where everyone knows that this is how the company trades, or this is how the company deals with their issues. So it's very important to maximize everything before you get rid of it or you change it. That's the first thing I wanted to say. And then also we need to understand, or we need to look at systems and processes as something that creates the company's culture. So the moment you are able to know your systems, you are able to communicate your systems and processes to everyone within the company, it's easier for you to have a company culture where everyone they are either they find it easy to buy into the company's vision, the mission, and everything that the company sets for them, because they understand the company culture. That also assists the people that the company attracts to know that are they joining a company that they are going to find it easy working in, or is it going to be a company culture that destroys them in the long run? So I think that's just what I wanted to add to what everyone has already said. So that's it from me, Hendrick from Terescano Earth Movers, your lifting and rigging specialist from Mpumalanga.
I love that, Hendrick. I love it. I love it. I think the other part of that is you as a business owner has to be willing to take feedback from your staff on the processes, and maybe it's not working. And as far as, maximizing the process, a simple tweak might be you have to wait 3 days between steps versus 2 days, or you use this system versus this system. So yes, you don't always have to overhaul the whole process. You can be like, okay, let's try this little tweak first before we abandon it, or we do this little improvement here, or I'm not doing my part, or Sally's not doing their part. Like, how can we make that better? Take responsibility if you're not doing your part. If you're the clog in the process, own it and be like, okay, this isn't working. Or if somebody else isn't doing their part, like, go to them discreetly and say, hey, what's going on? What is this not doable? Is it you don't understand it? Like, where's the breakdown in this, so we can fix this and hopefully move forward? And maybe it just didn't fit their talents. Maybe they, got hired for this and it didn't fit exactly what they thought they were going to do, or vice versa. Talk to them, have a conversation. I've had that several times where I'm like, thought we were going to do it this way, and they'll be like, oh, wait a minute, I decided to go do it this way. And I'm like, okay, but is there a middle place, or do they really need to do it your way? Because it's your business. I mean, in the end, it's your business. And I've also, I started as a virtual assistant, so I've walked into people's process and procedures. And there's been places where feedback was welcome, and there was places where feedback was not welcome. Same thing in the restaurant industry. I've worked in it. My teenagers worked in it, and she's just like, Mom, this is crazy. Why do they do these things this way? And I'm like, are they approachable? And some managers were, some managers weren't. And just really worked on teaching her how to approach management and give feedback and so on and so forth. And the store manager actually loved that she was go like, hey, can we tweak this or tweak that? Because she did it in a very respectful manner. She's 16. Going to somebody that's a store manager can be scary, but we worked on how to go and say, hey, I'm working the takeout window, and this is not working for me, or this isn't working. Can we try this? It's doable, and a lot of people will be open to that. Not everybody. And if they don't make it about your feelings. Be like, okay, it's their business. I'm working for them, and you have a choice. You stay and do it that way, or you leave. I mean, it can boil down to that. Come on in, Peter.
Yeah, I just wanted to paint a little bit of a picture. I think in the beginning, when you're building your space, you don't see the relevance of it because it's just you. And like, who do you have anything? You don't have anything to prove to anybody. However, if you're going to grow, then you are going to need to build up that space. And it's rather better to build the space out when you are still on your own. Because when you're still on your own, you can understand the culture of the space that you want to build. So you want to build that based on who you are, what works for you, what you envision in your mind, especially when Hendrick mentioned the culture of the space. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And it becomes this thing of you've always got something, and I think this is where Mr. Levy would be like, yes, that's a good base camp. Mr. Levy talks a lot about base camp, and I think building that space out is almost like the space that you can go back to and go, well, actually, what are we supposed to be doing? Actually, what is the process for this? And I think if that's built out properly, it can save you a lot of the time. However, it will get to a point where you started the business, you grew the business, you know the business inside and out, you understand the processes, you know the processes, and it won't be something that you will consistently go back to all the time. It'll be something that you'll just know. It's your space, you've built it. And instead of then consistently building on your processes, you've got it to the point where it's working. And now it's just time to review. And I think what Hendrick mentioned as well that I think is brilliant is changing an entire process. If you're on your own, is fine because you can build it the way that you can understand it and it works for you. But once you've built out a space and you have employees, changing out an entire process is a mission because it's not just you building it out. It's a whole group of employees that need to understand that a process has changed, and change is tough. It's difficult. So tweaking something, and I think especially sales processes sometimes are just one little tweak away from working. And now you want to go and change the whole process. That might be, and then you've got to learn all over again. Does this actually work or does this not work? So often when we just tweak things, we tweak a little here, we tweak a little there, we figure out what works, what doesn't, until we find the sweet spot. The funny thing is that in entrepreneurship, the sweet spot always seems to move. It moves, and you've got to tweak a little bit, and then you've got to feel out the market, and maybe there's something happening, and maybe the language that you're using has to change because that's a little bit more, and a little tweak in the language being used in the sales process, or maybe a little tweak in the amount of time between when you get back to a client after they've expressed interest, or maybe the amount of time that you get back to somebody that's expressed interest but they haven't gotten back to you yet. These are all things that you can actually tweak. So I would view in my mind this space as a living document. It lives, it breathes, it lives and breathes with the you. And as you change, it changes until you've built what actually works in your space. And it's going to change. It's going to change. So get used to it. My systems and processes from 6 months ago are not the same processes that I'm using right now because things change. So many tweaks have been added into different spaces. Direction changes. So you've got to be fluid and you've got to be able to roll with it. But you've also got to allow the people that are working in your space to roll with it too. And the only way you can do that is if you've built out those processes. So have fun with it while you are still just on your own. If you're not on your own and you don't have processes, I think you need Sondra right now. Like right now.
Thank you, Peter. Yes, the world's changing, so your business should be changing and growing And so that means your processes do have to grow with you. Just like your business plan is a living document. We've talked about that in previous shows. And I didn't even consider that until we did that show. The show teaches me just as much. I'm a year 5. It's still, I still learn. Always learning is important. So, yeah, your business plan. And your business plan might be a great place to start with process and procedures. Like a lot of the times, that is built into your business plan, depending on what type of business you are and what template you're using and so on and so forth. So that's definitely, and again, there's nothing wrong with looking up other process and procedures that other people are doing to give you an idea. If you're like totally clueless and don't know how to start one, ask people, Google it. Google is your friend. Google's my friend. Google it. Like, what is a process for X? And see if there's one written, and then see what resonates with you. Or sit down with, a professor or me or somebody like that that can help you pull that together or review what you have. Welcome, Mikey, to the show. Come on in.
Hi, thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, I like this topic. It's kind of close to my heart and my experience and working experience and the like, operations and procedures and cost saving and efficiencies. And the one thing, though, I'd like to share with the viewers and all the entrepreneurs out there is, I know we're all under pressure, pushing deadlines, meeting targets, chasing after clients and the like. But so like what I've kind of learned as a tip, it's a bit of a conundrum, is that if you learn about, or if you apply efficiencies not only in your business, but it becomes a habit in your life, even at home and your personal life, it becomes a lot easier. It becomes like second nature when you start looking at your own, and you will be surprised at the amount of money that you waste each and every month on costs, expenses, fees, subscription. And I think a big one is a subscription that we have both in our business. We think, okay, yes, I needed this service or product, purchase it and forget about it. And similarly in life. And then you realize that, you have the subscription, but you're not utilizing it. And it's literally just money going away and it's just bleeding you. And the big thing is when you add them all up, you'll be shocked at how much you could have been saving, even if it's a stopping or putting an end to an unnecessary few hundred rands here and there. Before you know it, you'll find and discover it's thousands that have actually you bleed each month, and it's just wasted costs and really not recovered. Just a personal story. Hey, I have had, thank God, I have had a matter, an insurance that was charging me incorrectly every month for a time, and I'd been fighting them. And finally, I had to go all in South Africa. We have a ombudsman. It's like if you have an issue with a company and you try to resolve it with them directly and they fail or just don't want to be sort of amicable in a resolution, you can escalate it to a higher, it's not a court case yet, but it's like a higher level that oversees all companies in South Africa. And, recently I just recovered some funds of mine that this particular insurance company was billing me incorrectly. And the thing is, you got to be, especially in this current age, what I'm saying to, fine, I get it, people know and maybe thinking, yeah, it's okay, I know, I just need to make the time. I need to find time to go through my, books and my contracts. And you got to be very careful in the current age, or at least even since post COVID, because economies across the world, every country is having it tough, more so than before COVID. And the reason I'm raising this is because it's more, this is where the opportunity to sort of unfairly charge people is rife. It is everywhere and it is blind. Even your bank accounts, you'll find your fees are ridiculous and you've got a service that you never need or don't need, but you may have taken. Everybody is struggling in the current age we're living in. So any opportunity to make money off someone else is becoming much worse now than it used to be. And so hence, as if you're a startup or a small business, you've got to be very on top of this whole matter or this whole issue, because I assure you, of those who are watching the show, probably everyone is incurring hundreds, if not thousands, in monthly costs that you don't need, that you really can do without and just save or channel elsewhere. Yeah. Sorry about that rant, but I take this topic kind of personal.
Mikey, don't forget to do your business. Tell us about your business. Your business name. Oh,
I
you're
got it
muted.
in my name. Yes, my company is Clinicon, and we are involved in anything clinical and medical related in consulting and training. Yeah, that's Mikey Guness.
Thank you, Mikey, so much. Yes, I have financial coaches and coaches. And I had a financial coach for a long time. I still have her lately. And she was very big on monthly, looking at your bills every month. Again, that's great if you can do that. Quarterly, there's a financial piece in my quarterly review workbooks for life and business, multiple businesses, so you can look at them on different business levels. So yes, finance is extremely important. My son sat on the couch Friday and he's like, how much you guys pay for your phone bill? And we said, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, wait, I pay almost that much and I only have this many lines. And so he went in there and he like started canceling stuff and reduced his bill by $50 by spending 10 minutes on his phone on our couch. Because he's like, Mom, this is crazy. Why am I spending almost as much as you and you have 3 lines and I have 2? And I'm like, something wrong. You need to go look at it. So definitely looking at that, because yeah, you always get all those free services when you sign up for something, and then that trial ends and they start adding it to your bill and adding it to your bill. So extremely important. Mr. L, go ahead.
I think just the one last thing that I want to mention is, and I think Hendrick alluded to that, is that your SOPs can be changed. It doesn't have to be carved in a stone, or that you can adapt it. You can get here and there and make sure that it works for you. I don't know how many of us did biology at school. And when I did biology, I think I was in matric or something, there was a little microorganism called amoeba that can change its shape to adapt to the environment. And I think your SOPs could be your amoebas. Change them to suit your needs so that you become successful. That's all I wanted to add.
Me finding the mute button after I'm on the other screen for YouTube channel. Yes, for sure, for sure. Come on in, Peter. We're getting close to the end.
Okay. Sure. How do I say this nicely? I think if you're wanting to be successful, the art of being successful is to find something that works and replicate it. Find that one successful thing and replicate it. Do it again. But how do you know how to do it again when you got it right the first time? So we're currently busy with the project now. It's a very small project. It's creating a blueprint for the rollout of events that possibly will happen all over the world. Currently, there is only one event. It's happening in a small local restaurant. It facilitates 60 people. It's in support of CHOC, the Children's Cancer Foundation. It's in support of the restaurant. It's in support of the art supplier. It's in support of us as a networking space, all in one. And with 60 people attending so far, the event I think is about 3 months away. We've sold 18 tickets so far, which is pretty good because it's still 3 months away. And it's a very small event. However, the impact of an event like that within a community brings about a lot of marketing, especially if all of the spaces are all marketing the same campaign. So it's an entire blueprint of how we can utilize an event and create the biggest amount of impact, but not only for ourselves, but for others. How do I now reach out to Mikey and Lesetja, because I know they're in Johannesburg, and to Momalele and to some of the crew in Johannesburg and go, I want to run this event in Johannesburg. And they're like, oh, great. What did you do? Oh, I don't know. We're just doing an event. There has to be some form of they need to know what it is that we did in order to create a successful event so they can go and replicate it. Otherwise, it doesn't work. It makes no sense. So in all simplicity, find something that you're good at, be successful at it, replicate it, document it. And I know it sounds so clinical. I know it sounds so clinical, but sometimes you just got to take what's in your head, because sometimes people are really brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And this is, oh, okay, no, wait, this is me calling myself brilliant. That doesn't work. Don't worry, I'll get somebody else to call me brilliant afterwards. That'll make more sense.
You're brilliant. You're brilliant. I gave you
Oh,
permission.
right, thank
Go
you.
ahead.
But sometimes the thought processes in my head, I can put them out there and I can make them work. But if I don't either document it myself or have it documented, doesn't mean I have to do it myself, then there is no way to replicate it. So if you're out there and you have this brilliant mind at how you want to do something, if you're not going to document it, there's no way you could probably replicate it a few times yourself, but then what happens when it gets bigger? You know, it just loses all of its essence, because, and then you wonder why, but they did the same event over there and it didn't work. Why? You almost guarantee your success when you find something that you're good at, be successful at it, and replicate it. So if you're much like me, I don't have the ability to sit and document my processes. I do not. I will admit it 100%. I am so dyslexic. I'll look at my process list and be like, wait, what? I'm supposed to predict what? No, that doesn't work for me. So I've had to find a way to circumnavigate that so that I can create processes, so that when I go and I make the event even bigger and I go to Sondra and I'm like, hey, listen, I need this event to go international. And I'm looking for this particular type of client. I'm looking to support this particular type of cause. And I want the event to facilitate 200 people. I need to have documented what worked and what is the process. What do they need to follow? If you don't do that, you hide your brilliance. Literally, you're hiding it. And things that could be so successful, you're kind of just putting along because you're doing it by yourself and you're not building out that space for the success that it actually could be. Then you get to the point where sometimes something that you do is not successful, but you documented it. And all of a sudden you look at the process and you're like, oh my goodness me, I didn't realize it, but if I change just this one thing, and you change the tide on an entire space, and something that was not working is now working. So it basically gives you the authority to step into a space and know exactly what you're doing next, what you're going to achieve. Now you can predict spaces. You can predict things rather than hope and pray. We don't want to create a space where you hope and pray for the best results. You basically want to know, I've done this before, I'm replicating it, I can do it again. So if you take anything from that, and if you can't do it yourself, that's fine. Sondra can, or meet or introduce yourself to somebody that can do it for you. In my space, I have Nastine in my space. If I want to know exactly what the process was, or I'll say stuff. Oh, I want this and this and this and this to happen. And then Nastine will be like, oh, in other words, you want the process to be this. And I'll look at it and be like, oh, well, yes. That's exactly what I want the process to be. So replicate it. Go be brilliant, but replicate it. Peace.
I love that. I love that, Peter. And I like how you said the replicate and record it. Record it literally does not mean you have to follow the standard Google document for SOPs in this professional document. It can start out with you or a voice recording, or you draw pictures, or you take a bullet journal and you write goobly goop until you can get it to something that's a little more polished, or, throw the idea in ChatGPT or wherever you need to throw it. Documenting it does not mean you have to have this formal process. So speaking of processes, Peter, we need to wrap up for one, but you're going to go and then I'll go, because
Okay,
people are waiting with bated breath.
Okay, perfect. So, I see Hendrick is on the ball there at the bottom. Yes.
Oh, and people on the show did say you're brilliant. It wasn't just me. There was other people.
Oh, they're too sweet. Okay, so students that are watching in the background, yes, I know I'm brilliant, but the reality is that you're brilliant too. So birds of a feather flock together, we'll be brilliant at the same time. So the hashtag and the code word for this week will be hashtag celebration, because that's what we're heading towards. We're heading towards a celebration. We know that you're stepping into the next space with Declan and Mr. Levy, which is going to be absolutely brilliant, because now you're going into the pitch training. That's going to be phenomenal to watch. So you're in for a really good time. So what I need you guys to do in the background, and this is to the Ignite students, I need you to message Somerville with the hashtag celebration. I need you to message Somerville that you have shared this content. All of these things are worth points. So if you're lagging behind in that leaderboard space, this is an opportunity for you to get multiple points. So hashtag celebration, share and let Somerville know that you've shared, and then drop a message of something that you have learned from this space. And if you've learned that you can do it by yourself, go ahead and do it. If you've learned that you can't do it by yourself, we have people for that. Sondra, back over to you.
I love that. I love that. Quick shout outs. Speaking of Miss Somerville, Somerville runs a lot of processes and procedures in the background, not only for Explore ProTech, but for the Ignite program, and other amazing things that Peter and Nestine come up with, for sure. And then Susan does our description. She does a show notes afterwards, and then she turns it into a podcast on Spotify. Make sure you're following us on Spotify. Listen to a couple episodes and rate us. That means more people all over the world can find us. And if you ever want to chat with any of us on the screen, our LinkedIn links are always in the show notes. Make sure to connect with us. I've been connecting with people on LinkedIn. I love doing coffee chats. Peter loves doing coffee chats. We all love doing coffee chats with people. We are all about coffee first, business later. So we love doing coffee chats. Even Mr. Hendrick, I'm sure, would do a coffee chat if he wanted to. For sure. So yeah, and then my name is Sondra. I'm the owner of Get It Done Coaching, and I help people achieve their goals by creating bite-sized pieces and holding them accountable to it. Peter, why don't you sign us out, please?
Awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's come to that time in the show where we are going to end the show, but we'll end it with the wise words of Nestine Buerter. And those words are, may all your wildest entrepreneurial dreams come true. Peace out.
Same place, same time next week. Bye.